Hey guys, you're listening to Unedited Sessions, where we take a breath, slow down, and talk honestly about faith, life, and the spaces in between. I'm Caleb Breedlove, and around here, we share walks, wrestlings, and moments that don't always make it to the highlight reel. No scripts, no spin, just real people learning to follow Jesus through the beauty and the tension of everyday life. Welcome to the conversation. Well, hello guys. I hope this episode finds you all well. I have decided to kind of take a little walk with some of the questions that you guys have asked, and I think it's honestly some fair questions after some of you have read the post, An Honest Confession, dealing with anxiety and disassociation, my journey with it anyways, and my faith and how that interplays in my personal life. And so, I often take walks, and with unedited sessions, if you ask me a personal question, I'm going to take a walk. I'm still in the Netherlands, and I thought to myself, I was like, you got to strike it when the iron is hot, and I have some open days, and it's just a good thing to just really invest in content like this. Oh, my shoelaces. Hold on, I have to tie my shoelaces because I don't want to be walking and trip and fall. Okay. So I should have did that earlier. Anyways. But it's like 9 o'clock here, and I'm sure you're going to be hearing mopeds and cars running by and walking by. But it's 9 a.m. here or 9 p.m. here, and honestly, it's still like bright and it's day, and I'm going on a little walk. It's not going to be dark until next couple hours, but I thought, hey, let me just answer some of your questions since posting that thing. So, anywho, I love taking walks, and I try to walk about 5 miles a day. And I think I process a lot on my walks, and I process about my life and where it's going. I pray, I meditate, I contemplate, I reflect, I practice introspection. I also really focus in on calming myself and becoming clear about frustrations, and just try to practice grounding when I am walking. So I try to do that every day if I can. If it's raining or it's too cold, sometimes I don't, but I try to anyways. And then for discipleship or just friendship and conversation, I spend a lot of times walking with friends and giving them time to process. And so, that's been my experience as of late. And a lot of my conversation and helping people process and helping people to make time for themselves and pursue and clarify and think about life and where they are with Christ and struggle with their faith. It's always on a walk, so you're just joining me on this walk right now. And As I said, I'm going down a trail, so I may, a walking trail nearby, so I may, you know, pause to make sure I don't get lost or anything like that. So, but yeah, you guys had some questions about mental health and faith, and I think that a huge part that I would probably want to say first and foremost is that there is a lot of tension when it comes to mental health practices and faith, and it's just one of those things that we have to really focus on, to live in the tension. I don't know if when we talk faith that we're trying to bypass different feelings, negative feelings. I think sometimes people treat the gospel like a happy pill or an antidepressant, and it really isn't that. It's something a lot more, a lot deeper, a lot more complex, because the first thing I'd say is, just on the topic as a whole, is that I learned early on in my struggle with anxiety and depression and vulnerability and addiction as a teenager into my adult years, that the gospel is to be with you and not just for you. And what I mean by that is, like, our gospel, yes, it's for our deliverance, it's for our salvation, it's for our sanctification. And just theologically, I think we're all clear on that, and I'm clear on that. Maybe we're not all clear on it, but I'm clear on it. It's for me. But it's also with me. And I had to learn the value of seeing God with me. He's with me in my tears. He's with me in my doubts. He's with me in my failures. He's with me in my sadness and my numbness. He's with me in my anxiety and my fears. He's just with me. And that through his gospel, I get to be with him and he gets to be with me. And I'm reconciled to be with him. And so I feel like early on I stopped, snorting the gospel and trying to escape my pains and my worries and my frustrations. And I just kind of learned to allow the gospel to be a door that I can knock on to enter into God's house, God's presence, and to find comfort in him as my help, as my friend, as my intercessor, as my comforter. And so I find it, the questions about mental health and faith, to be very helpful, because I find it to be interdependent, in that you can pursue mental health all day long, and without Christ, you can learn to manage it, but you don't find the comfort, the hope, the healing that you need. I've had measures of deliverance and healing just through the love of God and through prayer and experiencing him, and measures of it. And that's grown over the years. And then there are seasons where, it's completely gone, it feels, or feels like it's just nowhere to be found, and I'm happy, and I'm courageous, and I'm taking risks, and I'm strong. And then, another season where I'm not that courageous, I'm anxious, and I feel fragile, and I need him. And so through the ups and the downs of mental health, faith is the thing that is most consistent. And like I said earlier, it's this door I can knock on. Oh, the pigeon. Okay. Ooh, that was a big pigeon. Lord have mercy. But yeah, it's a door that I can knock on. I thought the pigeon was going to poop on me, I'm not going to lie. Um, that was wild. Anywho, so it's a door I can knock on, and I can find him. And also, I've learned in my practice, my contemplative practices, that I don't need to find an answer. I don't need to find a solution. I think early on I wanted to just feel better, and that Jesus was just like an agent for me to feel better, like laundry soap is an agent to clean our clothes, you know? Um, and I had to learn that he's a person and that he desires to be with me and he desires to draw near. And like I was, that scripture that I posted in the blog, and it was talking about um, meek and lowly, and he was saying how the contrite, he chooses, he says, I dwell in a high and holy place, and I dwell with those who are contrite and lowly of heart, that who are burdened and crushed and oppressed, and I dwell. It's notice that he says, I dwell with them. He doesn't say, I fix them. There's other scriptures that talks about the promise of healing and deliverance, and that helps us to set our hope on something beyond our self-management. But that passage says he dwells with me, and it's ethereal, but it's his presence is not. It may sound ethereal, I should say, but his presence isn't. It isn't ethereal. It isn't, far-fetched. It isn't out there. So, yeah, I find it. I find this conversation really, I don't know, not necessarily easy, but I find it helpful to meditate on how I have, they're totally different stories, but how I have found comfort in my pursuit for mental health and its interplay with faith. And so that's what I'll say so far. Okay. Then we have a couple questions. There was a question: how do you manage the tension between trusting God and feeling overwhelmed? Speaking about anxiety, I think that that's an ongoing conversation. Honestly, I think that I have struggled, especially when I feel overwhelmed. I become very dutiful at times and fearful. And so, like I said in the whatchamacallit, the blog, I can have two responses. I either shut down and I don't move, or I really focus in on how I feel and become very fearful. Guys, my shoelace got untied. I'm going to set this down really quick. Oh, I don't know if you can still hear me. I hope you can. I don't know what's the problem with my shoelace. But, yeah, I either shut down and become very robotic, if you may. And just, it impacts how I engage God, because a lot of my prayers, it's not confident, it's desperate. And I know I'm in a place of overwhelm when either I can't pray, or it's very hard for me to talk with him, or when I do pray, it just sounds really desperate, short, desperate phrases. And I go, oh, kind of actually helps me to know where I stand with him, And so I think that the times, oh wow, I'm walking by a house in Netherlands right now, and this house is watching a Medea show, I think. Oh, that's hilarious. Tyler Perry's all over the world, y'all. That's crazy. Okay, squirrel. Back to what I was saying. The question is, how do I manage tension between trusting God and feeling overwhelmed? One of the things that I learned was that I don't need to condescend my feelings of overwhelm to trust God. I had to learn that it was okay for me to feel overwhelmed, and that trusting God was not a feeling, it was a choice. That I could say to him, God, I am really having a hard time right now, and I'm really overwhelmed, and I do not feel that you're hearing me. I don't feel like you're near. I don't sense or perceive or discern your nearness. I can actually tell it to him, be it without condescending it and trying to just get past it. I think some of the times when I have desperate prayers, I've reached a point, a threshold of overwhelm that, honestly, guys, it's like I've reached a point of overwhelm, unaware, and then I kind of get to like, oh, I am a little I'm overwhelmed. I'm surprised that my prayers are so desperate. Like, oh God, you know, I don't know how I can say it other else than that, or other than that. And so I think I'm rambling a little bit, but I think that I really focus primarily on welcoming him into. I have to really slow down. That's what I'm trying to say. I have to really slow down. When I hear myself praying desperate prayers, I try to practice slowing down in my personal life and just involving him in how I feel and telling him, hey, this is what's going on. This is how I'm feeling. This is why I'm feeling this way. And so that has also helped me a ton, because I get to process, I get to name it. I get to do all that. So, and then as I welcome him into my feelings, my overwhelm, my wrestling, slowly, and I do mean slowly, his presence kind of re-enters. We reconnect over time. And it really focuses primarily on how much I'm able to really give myself to the consistent pursuit of him. And so that's been really helpful, to know that trusting God is a choice, and I don't have to overcome overwhelmed to make that choice. And I get to involve him in my overwhelm and slowly move myself closer to him. And as I continue to involve him, I give him the opportunity to slowly move himself toward me. And sometimes quickly, sometimes suddenly he comes and he breaks in, and it's like, oh, I feel you. I know you're there. I know you're with me. The comfort, I feel the comfort. And then I enter again the affection of faith, in a new way. One of you guys asked, what lies have you believed in anxious moments, and how has God gently corrected them? I think that one of There's this guy, guys, that just rode past me on a bicycle. He's crossed his legs and he's eating a sandwich. It's kind of wild. That's wild. Anyways, so what lies have you believed in anxious moments, and how has God gently corrected them? One of the major lies, I think, in this season, as we're pioneering and we've come into this new building, like, to just be totally honest, the major anxiety has been money. It's been finances. And not my finances, but the finances for the ministry. And there are two things that, rocks my world. Through two thoughts that have been identified as lies over and over again. One is, do you even, let me do one. One is, it's all on me. Okay, that's the first one. I would say that I feel the pressure of making something happen. And let me just tell you guys, I do not have the energy. I do not have the wisdom. I do not have the strategy. I don't have the intelligence to make the miracles that happen around me happen. Like, I am completely, entirely dependent on Him to make something happen. And so it's been wild to experience month after month, day after day, challenge after challenge, God gently remind me through a miraculous moment, hey, it's not all on you. And yeah, that's been very, very encouraging. And that's kind of how He has dealt with it, honestly, is it's not all on you. Look how, none of my efforts ever really amount to much. It really is this, random, weird moment of clarity where someone has with God and comes and answers a financial pressure that's making me feel like it's all on me. And it really shatters that illusion of control that I get into when I feel overwhelmed or feel anxious. I think the second part of that is another lie, the one that I was going to share at first, was, do you even care? Do you even see me? I feel like I'm here again, and you tell me not to be anxious, and you're not answering my needs fast enough for me not to be anxious. And and so it makes me question His character. Why? How is this challenge over and over and over again helping me grow in You? And I think that I've learned that it's not about mastering anything. It's just about doing more of the same. It's almost like, marriage. Cass and I, we've grown over the last 9 years of marriage, 11 years together. We've gone through our ups and downs. We've gone through really intense moments. We've gone through really amazing moments. And if my pursuit was to master my wife, to master marriage, then, or to master, a certain aspect of marriage, like, I want to master this. It sounds good, but it's actually not going to be helpful in the long run. And the reason why it's not going to be helpful is because I'm mixing what should be a pursuit of love with ambition. And I think that sometimes I separate, or I misunderstand faith and walking with God for ambition. And, saying, oh, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to master this. I'm going to be more. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be, I'm going to be tougher the next go around. And the reality is, regardless of if I'm fragile, if I'm tough, if I'm wise, if I know better, regardless of any of that, it is better for me to be with him. And again, it might sound like a cop-out, but for me, it's not. It's like, honestly, I'm with him. I'm with him in it. I'm with him in challenge after challenge. I'm with him in my marriage. I'm with him in my relationships. I'm with him in, needing finances. I'm with him in parenting. I'm with him in my weaknesses. I'm with him in my depression. I'm with him in my anxiety. I'm with him. I'm just with him. And being with him as a person, it kind of like, I liken it to, I'm with my wife. I'm not trying to master anything. I'm just trying to love her. And me being with him or me being with her makes me, it teaches me, and it grows me and comforts me. And when I really focus in on, hey, I'm just going to be with you, and not just present, not like just sitting there, but really connected. That's what I mean when I say with. I mean intimate and connected. Generally, really good things start happening out of that. Not out of my ambition to become, or my ambition to be strong, or to be something that I'm really not in that moment. Maybe I'm going to tackle two more. Someone asked, what role has therapy or counseling played in your walk with God? And I am a proponent for counseling. I notice that I'm saying I believe there is great value to counseling, seasons of counseling. If you need regular counseling, frequent counseling, I think that counseling or therapy is helpful in a couple ways. It gives you tools to process, gives you tools to manage, it gives you tools to cope, and especially if it's connected to how you see your worldview, your faith, your hope in God. And not all Christian therapy is, I don't know. I'm not saying you can only see a Christian therapist. I just think it's helpful when you're able to reconcile and wrestle with the tensions of what's going on in your body, what's going on in your mind, and reconciling that with how you believe and what you believe. I think those are really important questions and situations to wrestle with. So I have found that therapy has been an amazing tool for me. I remember a few years back where I came home from a very long ministry trip, and I just got depressed. And I mean, it just hit me out of nowhere. I was exhausted, but I was depressed, and I was depressed for about a year and a half. And it was about a year and a half, and functional, but definitely depressed. And if I didn't have my therapist and helping me process why, and my desperate cries. Sometimes when I get into seasons of depression, I've had about 4 in my life, in my adult life, that have lasted anywhere between a year to 2 years, and so when I get into those moments, like, I've struggled with things like suicidal ideation or disassociation, numbness. I get really irritable, very angry. I've had to really deal with a lot of work in that area, especially being married and going through conflict, and all the things, right? Well, my therapist was amazing. I mean, just incredible at helping me to, one, feel human, to not feel like a basket case, to destigmatize what I was going through, to aid me to see different ideas and aspects of the journey. Different ideas help me to reframe a lot of different things. And I just thought to myself a lot of times how lucky I was to have the therapist that I had in the seasons that I needed her, and to be equipped with the tools that I needed to process my own brokenness and the perfection of God, and how unchanging, how loving, how eternally and preeminently good He was. No matter if the gospel was just with me and not seemingly working the way that I wanted it to work for me. And so, I find that I found a lot of comfort. I found God's comfort. Sometimes I wasn't able to really hear Him for myself, and I heard His comfort through therapy. So I think therapy is a powerful tool in times of anxiety and depression and the wrestling of mental illness and brokenness and trauma, and your desire and pursuit to overcome it. And yet, I also would caution people that therapy alone can only help and equip so much, and that I have found that the gospel, the preeminent, I guess, tool of God, work of God in my heart has been through the gospel, and how necessary it is to really meditate and embrace and find comfort and knock on His door through this living hope that we have, this incorruptible hope that we have in Him. And so I don't know personally how people overcome without Him. And I think that a lot of people seek to find it within themselves or within some other system. They make themselves a deity, or they make other systems or engage in other systems of faith and thought, and generally it has similar effects to help them find comfort. Yet, I've noticed, and I've, walked with a lot more people over the years and in their faith journeys, and a lot of them report, and I'm just telling you what they report, in that those are temporary. Those are things that you have to continually prop up, and it's idols created for yourself, and that's just my experience. That if I trust in anything other than Him, it's just an idol that I prop up, and I think, okay, I'm going to serve this, and it's going to help me, whether it's a good idea or a strategy or my own strength or, whatever it is. And you can, fill in the blanks. But I have not seen anything have the same effect that the gospel has on my life and through the testimony of others. And so, I just want to leave you with that thought. Again, thank you guys for subscribing, and thank you for coming and joining this conversation. I hope it has been edifying, and share it with your friends. Help us to grow our community and help others to join this conversation. If you have any more questions, if I write anything, or you're like, hey, I'd like to take a walk with you, just ask me a question and I'll go on a walk, and then you can hear my answers on your walk. All right? Hope to talk to you guys again soon. Bye.